To the residents of City Council District Number 8, we are happy to have you with us tonight. We have with us Madam Mayor, and next to Madam Mayor, of course, we have your council representative, Councilwoman Helen Holton. Won't you please give them both a round of applause? Joining with both Mayor Rawlings-Blake and Councilwoman Holton are members of the mayor's cabinet. They are special guests tonight, but we are grateful for the most important guests who are here tonight, and that, in fact, is you. So again, welcome and thank you for taking the time out on this June summer evening to raise issues and concerns that you believe matter most to your neighborhood. Tonight, we are hosting what we call Cabinet in the Community, and it is just as it sounds. That is, members of the mayor's cabinet joining us tonight to hear from you, one, issues and concerns that matter most, and also an opportunity for them to present to you projects and initiatives that are working or that they're working on in the 8th District. So without further ado, I would like to present the mayor of the city of Baltimore, the newly elected first African-American female and first mayor of Baltimore elected president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Thank you very much, Gus, for the introduction. I want to thank all of you for coming out. I know that we've been canvassing in the neighborhood and talking with many of you, and we were prayerful that you would come out on this evening, that I know there's at least 10 other things that you could be doing. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. And to your councilwoman, I want to thank you very much. You worked with us ahead of this meeting to make sure that we were very clear about your priorities and the priorities of your of the communities that you serve. And I want to thank you for that work. I want to thank all of my cabinet members for being here, and I also want to thank everyone from Edmondson West Side for allowing us to use their facilities this evening. Thank you very much for letting us use it. Thank you for opening the windows. Thank you for adding the fans. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I did forget one thing I wanted to thank Councilwoman Holton for. We just finished up our budget, and your councilwoman really took the lead in working with the council to coalesce around an out-of-school funding, an additional push for out-of-school time funding for Baltimore's young people. As the chair of the budget committee, she worked really hard to get a coalition of council members on board for this request. She worked with the council president and a few other council members to to push this effort forward and enable us to work through the budget and get that money in there for very significant out-of-school time funding. So I want to thank the councilwoman again publicly for your leadership and for your willingness to work together on shared priorities. And again, I think that it takes real leadership to do that, and you truly displayed that during the budget season. I thanked everybody for all their work coming in. All right. Before we start, I know that we're going to hear from some of the agencies, and then we're going to open the floor up to some questions from community members. But I think I'd be remiss if I didn't just mention that I know I speak for many that the past few months in our city has been very challenging. Some of the darkest times that I've experienced, not just in public life, but as a Baltimorean. And while I think that we saw some of some of the worst was displayed, we also, I hope you saw what I saw, was some of the best of us displayed, with people coming together in a unified spirit to bring Baltimore, to restore our city, to heal our city, and to make us better on the other side of the unrest. The issues that were raised in the wake of Freddie Gray's death. Well, they're not new. They're not new in Baltimore. They're not new any place in this country, and they're certainly not new for my administration. You know, we've worked very, very hard to reform the police department and to improve the relationship between the community and the police. Many of you probably were at one of our public safety forums that I've had with the commissioner, where we asked that simple question: how can we work better together? The police can't do it alone. It's very clear. Neighbors can't do it alone. That we are in this relationship. There's no possibility of separation, no possibility of divorce. We're in this relationship, and we have to do what it takes and be willing to do what it takes to get it right, because we all are in it together. So we've worked very, very hard to address some of the root causes of some of the unrest, fighting for jobs in our city. Under my administration, we've been able to reduce unemployment by a third, the unemployment rate by a third, and I'm very pleased about that, bringing 12,000 new jobs to Baltimore and working with the council members to make sure that more people, more Baltimoreans have opportunities to not just apply for those jobs, but to qualify for those jobs. And I'm also pleased that under my administration, we've worked very hard to do things like build the first new recreation center in the city in 10 years in Morrill Park. And we're breaking ground on 2 additional recreation centers this year. We've fought for funding for 21st century schools, and we're pleased about that progress as well. So I don't want to take too much time. We know that with all of this work, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. And my focus, you can't hear me? Can you turn the, we'll work on turning the volume up or turning the speaker. The fan, there's a seat right here. I know, but nobody wants me to turn the fan off. So we can turn the speaker up, but as long as you're sitting by the fan, it's going to be an interference. Okay. So with all of the work that we've been doing, and I'm sure you know that we've been making progress, it's clear that there's a lot more work to do. And tonight we're here to talk about that work, talk about some of your concerns. I'm here to listen. We're here with the cabinet members. We have a few at the table, but all of the other cabinet members who are here, if you could raise your hands. We are all here to serve you. We want to make sure that we address the concerns that you raise, no matter what the issue is, so we can move forward together as one Baltimore. We want to hear directly from you, and then we will, we will address those issues, as I said. With that, I want to give an opportunity for your councilwoman to give greetings and to talk about anything you want to talk about, Councilwoman. But I'm just grateful that you're here, and thank you for your partnership. Please welcome your Councilwoman, Councilwoman Helen Holton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I want to thank Principal Carl Perry for opening the doors once again. There are not a lot of places in the district that can house as many people. Madam Mayor, thank you for coming to the 8th District and bringing your cabinet. I think it is an opportunity for the citizens of the 8th District to be able to express their concerns, their joys, their issues, their whatever, directly, rather than by email or phone call, and that your cabinet is here to receive their messages. But most importantly, I want to thank the residents of the 8th District, because it is your issues and concerns that I take up on your behalf with my staff. And Gail Rayford, Elisha Meggett, and Calvin Anderson, please wave, because the job I do, I could not do without them. They're indispensable to the office, and I don't want to belabor the point. My hope is that we hear less from the agencies and more from the people, because I hear from them all the time, and I think it's good that you have the opportunity to hear directly from them as well. So thank you, everyone, for coming out.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councilwoman Holton. As many of you know, or many of you who have joined with us at the pre-cabinet in the community meeting, which was actually hosted here at the just across the street at the Village Library. And I know that the branch manager, Mr. Morgan, is here. If you could just raise your hand, we want to give you a round of applause. There he is. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. He actually opened the branch off. He actually opened the library branch during an hour where it was scheduled to be closed, just to show that the library is, in fact, community-oriented. And we had a packed house that night. That night, we heard concerns and issues raised from several neighborhoods, including Hunting Ridge, Tremont, I'm trying to think, Franklin Town, a few others, all of which completed surveys who were in attendance. And we had an opportunity just a week and a half ago, of canvassing in some of the neighborhoods, one being Edmondson Village, where we were actually on Gelston Drive and Wildwood Parkway and Cranston and streets like that, knocking on doors and hearing from residents directly what it is they believe are the most pressing issues in their neighborhood. We've received several surveys from multiple neighborhoods in the 8th District, and many of the complaints, many of the issues, many of the concerns we heard raised range from public safety to sanitation to youth-oriented programs to jobs. The top 5 we've noted in our presentation that we will hear in just a moment. So right up next, we have Mr. Larry Nunley, who serves as community liaison in this district. If you would please welcome him with a round of applause as he begins the presentation.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to say that I talk a lot, so they gave me a script, okay? All right? Many of you know that. And I got an amen from the mayor. So I'm your neighborhood liaison. I am Larry Nunley, and I'm very happy and fortunate to be here tonight. I have the rare opportunity to serve a group of individuals that are the residents of the soul of Baltimore. And I mean that. 8th District, I am totally committed and in love with your community. So we've been out taking residents and talking to residents about surveying. We've went out with many of you have said to me that you are still willing to go out, and we'll be doing that ongoing as well. But we wanted to know, what are your priorities? This is what we've heard. The survey results: public safety, 20%. Education, youth opportunity, 33%. Transportation, infrastructure, 15%. Housing, 16%. Sanitation, 3%. Employment jobs, 12%. Now, what I'd like to say to you is that that's just the beginning of what we're going to continue to do in the 8th District. And the only way I can do it is with your assistance. Calling me, letting me know what your issues are, reaching out to your neighbors that don't say anything, please. So tonight, the mayor has brought her cabinet out to address questions and issues. I hope that you will take this time to go down the hall to our rooms, our session rooms, to say to the leaders of our city exactly what your issues and concerns are. So without further ado, I thank you, and I truly hope to see every one of you in the near future. Thank you again.
And so now, thank you, Larry. Actually, if you could keep the, so as you see, the top 6 issues that we received are reflected in the statistics here. When we talk about public safety at 20%, education, youth opportunity at 33%. We do have, by the way, the 12% for jobs, sanitation, 3%, housing, transportation, so forth and so on. So next up, we will have presentations, brief introductions made to you, the residents of the 8th District, and order of the screen right here. We will start with Director William Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Councilwoman Holton, members of the community. First of all, thank you for allowing us to come out today to talk to you briefly about the Department of Transportation. We have members here from our Safety Division, Maintenance, Engineering, Traffic, and Transit, in addition to our Transportation Liaison, who will all be available after the meeting, during the breakout sessions to answer additional questions. The Department of Transportation in the 8th District has been very active recently with regards to sidewalks and alleys. We've repaired sidewalks and alleys in 13 locations, but in addition to that, we've been doing traffic signal construction work at Baltimore National Pike and Edmondson Avenue. We've converted 210 lighting fixtures from an older style to a more energy efficient LED style of lighting. We've resurfaced over 2.3 lane miles of roadway in this district. We've recently gotten notice to proceed and we'll be moving forward with the reconstruction of the Edmondson Avenue Bridge, which is a major bridge. Most people coming into this community probably cross that bridge every day. So you'll see construction work going on that. And Councilwoman Holton, when we first met and during our first tour, took me out to Forest Park Avenue, and we will be finally able to start the resurfacing on Forest Park Avenue, and that'll be happening from Pickwick to Weathersville Road. In addition, we've converted 9 schools. 9 schools in this community have been identified as part of our Safe Routes to School program, and as of fiscal year 2015, 14-15, we converted Lyndhurst Elementary School, and we have 2 more schools that are scheduled for the coming fiscal year. That would be Mary Redmond and Calvin Rodwell schools. That concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Director Johnson. So as Gus said, what we're going to do right now, again, we are having breakout sessions where the director and his team will be available. But I do want to give an opportunity in this setting for a few residents. If you have a question that relates to transportation that you think is a broad question that you would like to hear, please come forward. Do we have how are we doing it? Will we have a mic or what are we doing, Gus?
Yes, we actually have. Do we have a question?
Do we have a mic or how is
There
it
is
shouting?
a mic on the floor.
Mic. All right,
Tell you
so
what.
we have the 3, I didn't see any hands over there, so we have the 3 questions right here, the young lady in the baseball hat, the young man in the plaid, and this man in the vacation shirt.
Apparently in that order, Madam Mayor.
Yes, go.
Yeah. Please. You can come up. Yes.
And if the 2 gentlemen would come up too so you could follow.
Just give
Thank
us
you very much.
your name and your neighborhood, and you can give us the question.
My name is Nancy Moore, and I live right off of Briarcliff Road. I wrote to you last month asking you to repair the sidewalks and the curbs on Briarcliff Road, and I was told that it takes 60 days for you to come out and do an inspection. So how are you selecting the locations in order to make the repairs?
Thank you.
That's a good question. The inspections take place on a continuous basis, and they kind of go into a queue as we identify locations. Oftentimes, especially with sidewalks or alleyways, there's a responsibility for the property owner, so they do sometimes it requires some time to research and get in touch with those property owners and talk to them about what their options are. But the work that you actually see getting done in your community has gone through that process and has been programmed as part of a contract. And the contractors, as they get around, as they're scheduled, they come up and they do the work. So if you have more specific questions, again, we'll be here during the breakout sessions. And some of the folks that may be involved at that particular location may even be here tonight.
And man, I don't know if a liaison has come over to you to get your name and the exact address that you're talking about, but someone will come over to get your information and to give you a card. Thank you. Yes, sir. And because of the feedback, they're asking that no, please step up. You can come.
I don't really need no mic, really.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can I hold the mic?
You just told me you don't need a mic.
No, I'm gonna hold the mic.
Okay. Go ahead. I ain't gonna let you hold the mic.
Let me see. My name is Eugene Scriber.
Go ahead, Mr. Scribe.
I've been on Emerson Avenue for 40 years.
Yes, you have.
And you said you're doing the bridge. L Street is the worst street in this city, I think. And about 1,000 cars come down the street every day. And the alleys are even worse than the street. So we need some help. We really need some help. And I lost 2 cars on Emerson Avenue because the potholes and stuff. I mean, your people come out and throw gravel down and beat it down and come right back up. Somebody don't know what they're doing. So we need some help. We're in bad shape on Emerson Avenue. 3500 block of that.
3500 block.
3528, my address. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eugene. Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
My name is Marguerite McLaughlin. I live on Evanston Avenue, and I've been there ever since 1967. Now, my concern is about the MTA. For 4 straight mornings, the first bus never did showed up, and everybody raised the bus fare. Why? I'm out on the bus stop at 5 minutes to 5. I don't get on the bus till sometime 25 minutes to 6. It's not right.
So I just want to
Thank you.
bring it to your attention. The first word and the first letter in MTA is Maryland. That's the state transportation. I don't have nothing to do with the rates. I don't have anything to do with the schedule. The bus I'm controlling is free. That's the Charm City Circulator. I will say that to that point about the MTA, under the previous administration, we were working with Governor O'Malley on taking a whole citywide review of the buses to try to figure out what routes were redundant, which routes weren't serving the needs of the community. How can we create a more efficient bus system to serve the people of Baltimore? I will say that while that work started, it has not, as far as I know, it has not continued under the current administration, and that is something that we've been pushing for.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm speaking of, when these bus drivers call out, they don't replace them. And people shouldn't be out on the bus.
I still don't have anything to do with that. It's
Ain't you running the city?
It's Maryland Transportation. It's the state runs the bus system. MTA.
MTA is actually Mass Transit Administration.
Yeah,
which is a
sorry,
state
Mass.
agency.
Sorry, but it's
no,
Mass.
that's
Sorry.
State agency is the
You know what I'm talking about. Maryland. It's Mass Transit run by Maryland.
But
State
we
of
will get
Maryland.
your information, and we have a liaison right here. We'll get your information, and we can share that with MTA. That there's concern about the route, and that's the 23,
And we'll also give you the update.
23 and the 40 bus line.
And Miss will also give you the update on the citywide review of the. And I'm sorry, I messed it up. Mass Transit, not Maryland, but you know what I'm saying. It's Maryland, the state transportation. But long and the short, what I will do is make sure Mr. Nunley knows the status of that evaluation of the routes. Now, just so we're clear, Mr. I don't know your first name, your last name either. You're the last question. We were only supposed to do 3 for transportation, but we did 4 for this young lady that had a question with the buses.
Testing 1, 2.
Okay. Okay. My primary concern has to do with the streetlights, which are an improvement, but related to the mass transit factor, I assume you guys got the bombshell today that Hogan says he doesn't want to spend any money on Red Line. Now, back to the streetlights, the LEDs are a big improvement, but there seems to be a problem with them being vulnerable by being hit by a car. And I don't know if this is because the bases weren't replaced that were in the ground, and therefore that's the weak point, or there's something about the physics of it, of aluminum poles as opposed to steel poles, cast iron poles. But you're losing an awful lot of them, and when that sucker whips, you've lost the LED head as well. Is that being addressed?
Good question. Thank you.
Well, the one thing that we are trying to do about streetlight poles getting hit by cars is to get people to slow down. Most of these poles are on the sidewalks, so when cars are hitting the streetlights, that means they have left the traveled way and they're on the sidewalk. So we do need to get them to slow down, but we can also take a look at what else could be done because it does cost a lot of money to have to replace those.
Thank you very much for your question. And to the young lady with the MTA question, what's her last name? Ms. McLaughlin? I have to apologize. I want to make sure that you know that if you felt like I did not mean to be disrespectful in my answer. I just wanted to make sure that, especially with the news we just got today from the Hogan administration, I'm not trying to take credit for none of the stuff that they're responsible for. And if it came off as flip or disrespectful, I want you to know that I apologize for that. That was not my intent. I understand your question, and I'll make sure that you get an answer.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. By the way, Madam Mayor, we had to put a battery in the cordless, so we do have a floor mic now that we will be passed around. And Larry Nunley, the community liaison, will come to you as we go to the next presentation being made by Commissioner Paul Graziano.
Okay, thank you. Is this mic? Can you all hear me? Okay. Madam Mayor and Councilwoman Holton, a pleasure to be here with you and all the folks from the 8th District. It's good to be back here. We had a lot of meetings out here over the years regarding the Uplands development, and happy to see the progress that's been made, and looking forward to further progress on that very large project as well. And including some of the surrounding areas that I was just talking to some folks about as well, like the Gundry Glass site and so forth. And by the way, we do have funding, and we are committed to the demolition of the old the church as well. That'll be happening in the next several months. So that's something I know that Councilwoman Holton has been advocating for on your behalf for some time, so I'm pleased to say we have the money now, and we will be moving forward with that as soon as possible. A lot of what we do out here relates to Mayor Rawlings-Blake's Vacants to Value initiative, and one particular piece that's particularly helpful out here is what we call the Streamlined Code Enforcement, and that is a program whereby we can use the authority that was given to us by the City Council, by your councilwoman and others on the council, passed an ordinance that allows us to do citations, $900 citations for vacant buildings and $250 citations for other code violations. That allows us to free up our staff time, our attorney's time, to take on some tougher cases where we'll actually go into court and pursue what's called a receivership action. So that if there's a long-term vacant property on your block, And it's in an area where we know that there's a market. There's no reason why this owner should be sitting on it. We're going to go after them with everything we've got, and we've been very, very successful. Throughout the city, we've had over 1,600 properties where we've moved to receiverships. And what happens is the judge then appoints a receiver who puts the property out to bid through an auction, and it will only be sold to a qualified bidder who will then renovate the property. So that's a program, along with the $900 citations for vacant buildings that we are confident we know is already making serious inroads, and we're going to commit to working with all of you in your communities and your councilwoman and others to make sure that we continue to take on the blight in this district and throughout the city. The second major area I wanted to talk about, and I didn't realize they'd put the acronym there, the DOG hash is actually the Department of Green, Healthy, and Sustainable Homes, otherwise known as DOG hash. It's kind of a nice little acronym there. But that's all kidding aside. That's a great department, great office within my shop that offers a whole range of assistance for homeowners and renters in the city. And in this district, we have helped nearly 400 homes with about $2.3 million of investment. And this is for housing renovation work, dealing with code problems, putting in new kitchens, bathrooms, that kind of work, weatherization work. We have a program specifically where we will replace oil furnaces or boilers with gas-fired systems, which will save the average homeowner over $900 per year. So if you have an old gas system that you want us, an old oil heat system, and you want us to take a look at it, just let us know. We're, by the way, going to be up in one of the rooms on the side here after as well with my team. So if you've got any specific problems about energy conservation or weatherization issues or repairs to your homes or addressing lead paint hazards, please come by our room and we'll hook you up with the right people. We also have some very exciting home buyer incentive programs, and we want to be able to tell you about those as well. We have a $10,000 incentive for people who buy houses that were long-term vacant and have been renovated and are now for sale. You can get $10,000 for that. We have the trolley tour. We have the city employees program. And we also have a program called Live Near Your Work, and many of your employers may be involved. If they're not involved, you could talk to us as well. We'll go approach them about joining the program. And then finally, the last thing, very timely, is the Summer Food Service Program, which provides 2 meals a day to children who are, getting nutrition programs throughout the school year, but during the summer would be suffering from a lack of good food and nutrition in the absence of this program. We have 80 different sites throughout the district. Deputy Commissioner Scriber is here with me, and if you have any questions about that, we can fill you in on those down the hall as well. So we've got many, many other programs, but in the interest of time, I'll leave it at those. And again, any other questions you have, we will be happy to address down there. And Madam Mayor, I don't know if you want to open up for a couple right here. Or,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's the microphone, Mr. Nunley? All right. So we have. I have to start on this side because they haven't had a question. So we're going to do 4 just like the last one, and understand we're still doing the breakout sessions, right? We're all on the same page. So I have 1, 2, I'll go around 3 and 4, and we'll make sure that you get your question answered in the breakout. Larry.
So we now have Tony White standing on. Okay, we got the mic. Just give us your name, your neighborhood, and you can give us your question or comment.
Yes, how are you this evening, and thanks for coming out. I'm a new resident at the Uplands. I bought my home back in 2013. My value's going up exponentially. I want to thank you for all that you did to break ground there. However, I just want to ask, what is your level of commitment for the aesthetics of the account, the way the actual neighborhood looks? We have houses that are being sold expeditiously, very quickly. The boulevard coming into the location, when a customer or a potential home buyer comes to the sales office, they see nothing but weeds, and that's not very pleasant. We have several dead trees there. I have contacted the person who's in charge of the Parks and Recreation to see if he can get some replacement trees. I did walk around the community. There was about 14 trees that either are dead or need to be replaced. Again, I just want to thank you for all that you've done so far. However, there are things, we do have new homeowners coming here. That's like a diamond in the rough. It's a good investment for Baltimore City. We need to make it happen and make it look good also. Thank you.
This is going back on. Okay, thank you. We're very proud of the project. I have actually had discussions with the mayor's office and the developer, and we're going to work with the developer and whoever we need to within the administration to address some of those issues. I know there's some concern about the appearance along Edmondson Avenue as you drive past the site. The land that's not yet developed, we want to clean that up, maybe deal with the fence a little bit, looks a little less than attractive and attracting. And as you mentioned, the Gateway Inn, it's really going to have to be a joint effort between the city and the developer. Some of the land is owned by the developer, some of it is still owned by the city. But, sir, it is something very much on our radar, and I think we'll see some improvements over a short period of time.
Do we have a timetable for when that the improvements are going to be made? I think that's what he needs to know.
We haven't developed a time frame yet. It was just brought to our attention the last week or so, and I've spoken to my Deputy Commissioner for Development, who's here tonight, and we'll be working with the developer. But I would think that most of these things could be done in a matter of days and weeks, not months,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just had a follow-up question, Madam Mayor, if it's okay. The trees that the gentleman is speaking of, I know he's in the back, do we know if they're a part of city property or private property? Because we have the Director of Recreation and Parks who's here, and Forestry is in his department. I just want to make sure. Okay, we'll make sure we get that information.
What I would recommend is that I'll ask my team to work with Rec and Parks, so we will inventory the entire site and sort out who's responsible for what, but we'll get it done.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to ask a question. Do we have a community development packet? Because on my way up here, a young man walked up to me and asked me to help him. There's a bunch of young men down on Frederick and Collins Avenue, don't have nothing to do. He got a landscaping business. I got some contractors that's willing to employ these guys. If we want to make our streets safe and our community safe, we need help. A lady across the street on Frederick Avenue, 4113 Frederick Avenue, giving us a church where we can start community activities, but we need help to bring it up into commission. I have contractors that all of these little guys that y'all say don't want jobs and need help, they asking for a way out so they don't have to sell drugs. They willing to take their landscaping companies, they willing to take their construction skills that some contractors that agreed to me to help train them so that they can be employed. I have led certification in weatherization through Obama, through CCB. They can do this. I can show them how to do this, and they can bridge with these seniors that's scared of them. These kids just looking for help. They want to feed their wife and their children. They just need a fair chance. Nobody giving them a job. A little boy walked up to me, asked me for $3 for transportation because he'd been going job to job. Everybody's shutting the door in his face. He just wanted more money to keep looking for a job. I can help him get employed if I can get y'all help. If we have some type of community development packet to get this church down on Frederick Avenue, I will take care of the landscaping, I will take care of the housing down there, and the payment. I have construction contractors, I have electrician contractors, I have plumbing, HVAC that's willing to teach these skills to these youth that's being locked up every day that don't know, have nowhere to go. She's willing to open up to a community activity training, customized training program. We have nonprofit organization, one called Save a Community. We have another one, a marching band, the Christian Warriors, Mr. Reverend Ernest King. We did a Rites to Passage program in Charles Hickey School. We just need help. And all these people and politicians that want to vote, our children need help. The women and children, they want help. And we're politicians, we're mayor, all these contracts is not hitting the street. All this money that's coming to the city is not making it to these people on the street. How do we get that money that's coming to this city to change the problems to the people that's willing to do it? And I will bring you enough young men that want a job, and I will employ them. I will be responsible for training them. I have other certified MICH contractors. Well, we got to get the contract. Everybody else get the contracts but us. We will go in the community and hire our people in the same community that they live in. And what would be a safer community than them taking care of their own people? The seniors that's supposed to be scared of them, we will bridge a relationship and teach them soft skills to respect them and to take care of their properties. The code enforcement, instead of the $900 fine, send it to us, and we will go fix the problem so they don't have to pay a fine. And you can reach us, and we're here. We're here in this community, and we're willing, and we have vehicles to do it, but we need help. We have a building. I can take you and give you a tour of the building. We can bring recreation, bring them off the street, tutoring, GED preparation. We'll teach them landscaping, construction skills, and we will fix these vacant houses for you. All we got to do is employ them. We just need a chance. And can I get the cards? I need your card.
You're going to go. You'll be going to the breakout session.
Okay. And I need anybody else card who really have a desire to help God's people, because they are people too, and they need help. They just don't need to be locked up and housed. They need to be given something to get pride in their community. And there's enough people in here can make that happen. And there's enough people that's willing. Don't say they don't want no job. Their records is not qualifying them, and when they go to the job, they use a catch to say that they can't work. They'll work, I'll work them, I get them bond, I'll trust them, I'll train them, and I'll help them help our people.
Thank you, sir.
Does he, can you come, hello?
Sir?
So first, thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment to our young people. I want you to know that if we didn't want to make the investment and we didn't want to work with the community, we wouldn't be here. This is about having this conversation so we can have this conversation, hear from you about the things that you want to do so we could try to make it happen. So that's why I'm here. And I hope that's why you're here, so we can do that together. And my request to you is, when we go out into these breakout sessions, I want Jason Perkins Cohen, who's right here. He's the director for the Mayor's Office of Employment Development, and Commissioner Graziano's team, because what you're talking about bridges those two agencies. We want to be able to talk to you so we can talk about what the programs that you're talking about. I believe that our young people want to work. That's why I hired Jason. He has a background in placing some of our hardest to employ Baltimoreans in job opportunities, and we're looking for creative ways that we can partner with community associations and and not-for-profits to bring job training to the community. So I hope that you'll stay, you'll come to the breakout sessions, and we can talk about what you're proposing and work towards moving forward.
Thank you, man. We'll make this your baby.
Next.
It was Nancy and then this young woman in the yellow.
Sure.
You stand on this side, you need to stand on that side. Here you go.
Hi, my name is Nancy Smith with the Hunting Ridge Community Association. Just to parlay off of the Uplands development, you know, I've seen the same developer have sites in Towson, and it's a day and night difference between the curb appeal. Another thing that I mentioned about a year ago is that is there any way that that development can remove the flashing security lights and put the camera up? I think it sends a message to potential new homeowners over there. But I think that if you were to see the comparison of the two sites between Towson and down the street here, it's totally day and night difference. And the fact is that this is the biggest housing development that this city has seen in 50 years. This really needs to be addressed. The security cameras were brought to their attention a year and a half ago. If I was going to buy a house and went into this development with the flashing lights, it might be a deterrent for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
On the security cameras, I don't know if you have anybody, Commissioner, that could speak to that. But I agree with the first young man that moved into Uplands, and thank you. And with you. I mean, and again, I want to thank the Commissioner for having that meeting proactively and working to try to address the issue. And my request is going to be that you continue to push and we make it happen as far as whatever the solution is on the fencing and the trees, because this is the biggest, this is one of the biggest development sites on the East Coast. And we need to make sure that it's right. So I agree that we're going to continue to push. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. For this open session, we're going to take maximum 4 questions, and then we're going to go through all of the agencies, and every agency plus the ones that aren't at the table have the breakout sessions where if you weren't one of the 4, you can get your questions addressed from the team there. So the last question was this young woman in the yellow.
So just the reason we're asking folks to stand up near the column is because this is being taped. So I don't want you to think we're trying to, just make you move. So thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for coming to us this evening. I'm concerned about the number of vacant houses that's in West Baltimore, on Edmondson Avenue, on Ashburton Street, on the different streets. The number of vacant houses, roofs falling in, walls falling in. It's horrible. You come right out of Lincoln Park, what do you see on the side? All those vacant houses that are literally crashing in. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I feel terrible about it. We need to do something about those houses. And then we, the city, was good enough to break ground in a lot of those streets to plant trees. How are we planting trees in front of vacant houses? Then we put water meters, we put the land that we broke to plant trees beside water meters. If you know anything about water meters, you can't plant trees beside them. I don't know, I'm not real, educated about this subject, but I do know that water meters and trees don't survive in the same area. And I think these vacant houses need to be addressed. The city looks horrible in certain areas. West Baltimore looks terrible. Go down Emerson Avenue, come out of Lincoln Park, Ashburton Street, Baltimore Street, Franklin Town Road, all those streets, North Avenue, we look horrible. We need to do something. So thank you.
I'll start and then I'll let you finish, and maybe we can get Julie up to talk about more, Julie or Braverman up to talk about more specifics. With respect to the water meters, I'm going to ask that Rudy's team follows up and gets those specific answers, because as soon as you said it, I saw his eyes get big. I'm sorry, Director Chow, sorry. His eyes got big, and I'm sure he wants to address it, as well as forestry. So on the water media and the trees, we're going to work with that. With respect to the vacant housing, I grew up here. And the whole time I was growing up, was when a lot of I grew up in 1970. So from the 60s to, the 80s, there was a lot of flight from our city. And I watched as the flight from the city created vacancies, and the vacancies created blight. And as a person that loved and cared about my city, it was extremely frustrating to me, because it was one of those things that's just like a cancer, and it was just like once it's there and it metastasizes, and it brings everybody down. And what I knew was, when I became mayor, that I had to do something different, because what I'd seen previously was fits and starts with respect to how do we have trying to get a plan for how to deal with vacant housing. It just wasn't there. So what I did was, when I became mayor, I went to the commissioner, and one of the first conversations we had was, we need to get this right. We need a blight elimination plan that will work for Baltimore, that's market driven, that looks for ways that we can have both the carrot and the stick. So the carrot is these incentives that we have through vacancy to value. So we're paying people to move into some of our challenged communities and revitalizing our communities. And the stick is the $900 citation that we were talking about. And this isn't for people who can't afford to make repairs to their home. This $900 citation is for absentee landlords and people like that have, they're in Florida, they're in California, they're somewhere, but everybody, but here. And for whatever reason, either they're speculators or, it's their great aunt's house and they don't want to let it go, but they're not letting it go, it's hurting us. So that's why we with the help of the city council, we put that in place. And I want to tell you that I hear your frustration, and that's why I've worked so hard to develop this plan. And I want either the commissioner or Braverman or Julie Day to give you some statistics on what we're doing. But I want you to understand this. You know how big this problem is. We know, if you're from here, you know it didn't develop overnight, and we know that it's not going to change. It's not going to turn overnight. But what I will say is, I know that if we continue to work hard on the pace that we are, we're going to hit that tipping point where you're going to be able to see more of the progress. Because when I go to these our vacancy to value events, where we're celebrating new home ownership and rehabilitated homes, what I see is what inspires me every day, because I see people who felt like the community, the city had turned their backs on them and had forgotten that they even existed. And now with the homeowners, the homes that are being rehabilitated in some communities, and Commissioner can attest, some people who used to live in those neighborhoods are coming back. In some of the communities, it's new people who want to be a part of Baltimore, they're coming to Baltimore. And that's what inspires me, because I know that if it's happening in some of our most challenged neighborhoods, that it can continue to happen, and that can spread as well. So, with a big problem, it's like, what do they say? How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? We're taking one bite at a time. And they can tell you about the specific neighborhoods where we've been targeting so far, but know that more is coming, because I've quadrupled the investment in demolition so we could tear down some of these homes that we know can't be rebuilt. And because of the work that we're doing with that citation, we've spurred over $100 million in private investment in rehabbing these homes. So I do you want to do it, or do you want to have them come up?
I'll go ahead, yeah. Yes, and the mayor is absolutely right. We didn't get here overnight. When you lose a third of your population, you're going to have some vacant houses. And but I will say, under this mayor, she has pledged. I don't think the mayor mentioned this. She has pledged to grow the city by 10,000 households, and for the first time, we've seen the loss of population has ended, and we're beginning to creep up there in terms of the growth. And I think the more of this blight we can address, the more rapidly that growth will occur. Let me give you a couple of examples, and let me start with the development right next door, Uplands. Let's remember where that was. It was a major blighted property, over 900 units of housing that HUD, we got after HUD, and then they finally foreclosed. You know the history there, but there are sites like that throughout the city that we're taking on. So it's any of those major federally subsidized sites that are not performing, we're going after those. So that's one piece of it. Another piece the mayor mentioned, the use of our code enforcement powers to address these problems. Years ago, we used to think we had to buy, if there was a problem with a property, we had to buy it. And but we realized that that's very expensive, going out and buying every single property that's a problem, and it also takes time. And then once we acquire it, then we have to sell it back to somebody else who's going to fix it. So what we did is we stopped under the vacancy value. We don't go out there and buy every property that's a problem. We strategically target these areas where we know there is a market. But it's just not, there are people who are sitting on these properties. There are people, it's not because they can't do something with it, it's because they won't. And as the mayor said, many of them are not even here in the city, they might be out of state. And so we have the $900 citation, and we have that receivership program. So as I mentioned about the receiverships, but we have citywide issued 2,136 $900 citations to owners of vacant buildings that are sitting there that are uninhabitable. I'm not just talking about nobody living there. I'm talking about the roofs collapsing and all that. So over 2,000, over 2,100. And again, I want to thank the councilwoman and her peers for giving us that tool. And that is leading to results. And then the other thing is I mentioned receiverships. We have over 1,600 properties where we've gone to court to ask the court, and in these cases the court has agreed to appoint a receiver who will then auction the properties off, and they're being rehabbed. As a consequence of all those activities, we have, as I mentioned before, over 2,400 properties that were long-term vacant, roofs collapsing and so forth, that have been totally renovated and are being reoccupied. We have another 1,528 properties, 1,528 properties that have been demolished. The mayor mentioned she has quadrupled the demolition budget. This mayor has committed over $100 million for demolition. We also have other funds through the Housing Authority that we can use for vouchers to help do relocation for people who are in those blocks that need to be demolished. We have a whole block demolition strategy. We are committed. This mayor has given us the directive. We put together a plan to demolish 4,000 of these houses with those funds that I mentioned. So we're 1,500 into it. We got another 2,500 there. I was just on the phone this afternoon with folks from the mayor's office and from Senator Cardin's office and Senator Mikulski's office, talking to the United States Treasury about we need additional federal resources, because the $100 million sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but we need, unfortunately, we need in excess of $500 million, 500 million plus. So we're asking our federal partners to step up with us. But in the meantime, we're not just waiting. As I said, we're over 1,500 units in on demolition, over 2,400 units in on rehab, and we have commitments and solid plans to get to 4,000 demolitions and at least 1,500 additional rehabs. So those are all parts of it. It is. We also have a program, a set of programs. Up on the screen here, we talked about the Department of Green, Healthy, and Sustainable Homes. We also want to work with folks like you all who are living on those blocks. So you live there already, and maybe you need some help with your home. You're living there, so it's not a vacant home, but we want to deal with the vacant next door, but we also want to help you with some of the challenges you have in your own home. So we put all those pieces together, and that's what Vacants to Value is about. But I'm not going to lie to you, it's going to take some time to get through all that. But I'm encouraged by the progress to date. Thank you.
Again, remember, we're going to do the breakout session. So I know that you have a question, and I know it's urgent, but there are about 3 or 4 other people that have a question too. So I ask you if we can send one of our workers over to get your question, or you could do it at the breakout session. And believe you, and I don't disagree with you. It's just a matter of time and respect for us to get through the rest of the thing. I tried to, to be very clear that that's what we were just doing the for. So
We're going to.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and thank you for being here. My issue is, when I was growing up, we had a thing with the Catholic community church, the churches and stuff. They will come around. They will get the kids off the street, like that gentleman was saying, give them a job. All these vacant houses, if they train them, then they can work in these vacant houses and make a little bit of money. But they had volunteer services that would come and help the senior citizens. Like if they needed their house painted, or, they needed little things done in the house, little fixtures or something. They had volunteers to do that, even if it's not money involved. Some of the money that y'all having, get some programs together to get the kids off the street and do that. I'm a homeowner. I'm going to make it short, and then I'm going to sit down because I appreciate you letting me speak. I'm a homeowner who lives next to a house that smells purely like, excuse my manners, S-H-I-T. I had to call the police because the people going in and out the house. The house is open. It's a real unsafe feeling. So if we get things for the kids and stuff to do and teach them and train them and pay them a little bit of money, let it help each other. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
thank you, and Commissioner, if you want to talk about some of the work that we're doing exactly in that area, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we've already talked about talking after this in the breakout sessions about employment opportunities, training opportunities for youth and others, and we certainly embrace that. We have a number of programs already. We have one program in particular that we're particularly excited about, which is it's called a deconstruction program, where we work with a nonprofit called Humanum, who trains people to do deconstruction work. So as we're talking about all that demolition of blighted properties, not just go in there with a big wrecking ball or something, but go in there and they do the demolition, almost hand demolition, and then they can recycle all the bricks and the lumber and so forth. So it's good for the environment, for sustainability, but it also gives people skills and job opportunities. So we're very excited about that. It's a pilot, but we're going to expand it. There are a number of programs like that. You mentioned also, I'll respond briefly, about programs to come and work with seniors. We have a number of programs through the Department of Green and Healthy and Sustainable Homes that specifically focus on seniors. We're about to embark upon, and I'm not even sure if I've told the mayor this yet, a program with the health department to help reduce slips and falls and tripping hazards for seniors, to keep them in their homes and healthy for extended periods of time. So all that's there. We also have a number of groups that we fund through the Community Development Block Grant Program, who are nonprofits who go out there and work with seniors and others on home repairs.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I just want to reiterate. I know that we tried to get this balance of questions and the breakout sessions, and that's why we left it at 4 with the understanding of all of the resources, particularly the last resident mentioned. All of those answers will be at the resource center for her or anyone else that has a similar concern. So I hope you understand. We're just trying to get some of the questions out there, but also get through all the presentations and leave time for people to really do deep dives into the issues that are their specific issues during the breakout sessions. With that, I think we're turning it to Fire.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Councilwoman Holton, sorry. And to show you, I wrote it down and read it. Councilwoman Holton, citizens of District 8, I'd like to bring you up to date with some of the things that we're working on. Today, BCFD visited several different businesses doing business inspection. In particular, it was Engine 53, Squad 40, Engine 30, Engine 20. We visited several different areas doing inspection to businesses. Also, since last year, 365 days ago, this day, we've knocked on 6,020 doors in the 8th District in the attempt of installing smoke alarms, 10-year lithium battery smoke alarms, ones that last 10 years, ones that people don't have to replace the batteries, and that also have safe buttons that when they go off accidentally when you're cooking, you can press the button and it'll reset it for so many seconds while you're cooking. So you don't have to reach up there and try to knock it down or try to wave at it with a towel. Also, our fire suppression units have inspected 265 buildings in the 8th District. We've also, I need to point out that we've installed 557 smoke alarms in response to 311 calls in this district. I also want to take a shameless plug at this time and tell you all that if you call if you do not have a smoke alarm in your residence, or if you don't have a working smoke alarm in your residence, if you call 311, ask for the fire department to come out there and check your smoke alarm, most often than not will respond within 2 hours and install a 10-year lithium battery smoke alarm within your residence, or as many smoke alarms as are required, one on each floor, and they will specifically place them in the right place and make sure that they work before they leave. All suppression units in 8th District have been visiting schools, working along with Read with Kids and doing a whole lot of other things. I'd also like to thank members of this community. One of the initiatives that the mayor gave me soon after I got here was to lead the organization into trying to recruit people that live inside the city of Baltimore into the fire department. At that point, she gave me the opportunity to work with the school system, and we put two programs in 2 schools in the city where we teach kids how to be EMTs and firefighters. We literally send them through Firefighter 1 and EMT Basic, and they try to challenge the exam if they follow the program that's in place. We've had several different side effects that have come from that have been positive. One of the things, based upon your leadership in Youth Works in particular, we were able, several of the kids who are being successful in this program, we were able to hire them during the summer. One of the things that, if you remember, you said don't just have them sitting at desks and wasting time, do something productive with them. So what we've done is not only do we have them doing clerical work and working with logistics, trying to make sure we get equipment and things to where they should be. At that time, we have an opportunity to still train them and teach them how to be firefighters. Consequently, like I said, if they stay on track and they do the things that they're supposed to do, we should finish at the end with some successful individuals. We are very excited about this program, and we're very excited about a lot of the great things that my organization is doing for this community and the city at large. And I apologize for goofing up your name after I spoke to you 4 times today.
Thank you very much, Chief Ford, and I really want to commend you and your team for all of the work that you're doing. We were very clear when you came on board that I had a commitment to this community to make sure that we look for ways, a pathway to a great opportunity, which is to serve in the fire department. But I felt like we could do more to make sure that that pathway was available to Baltimore City young people. And you've really gone above and beyond to create that pathway, and I'm grateful. You know, I don't. One of the young men that spoke earlier said that we believe that our young people don't want to work. I don't believe that at all. You know, I meet young people every single day who want better for themselves, who want to work, and who inspire me by their drive and their passion. The chief didn't mention it, but there was a young man who had been trained up through recreation and parks through their aquatics program. He said he grew up in Cherry Hill, and every summer he wanted to. First he started going to the pool, then he started volunteering because all he wanted to do was be a lifeguard and get. He said those red shorts. That's what they wear. That's the red shorts he wanted to train, and as part of the aquatics program, they train everybody to do CPR. And this young man, was he 16 or 17? 16 years old, happened to be there when a little boy got run over. He got run over by a dirt bike, and because he had that training, he was able to. He said he didn't even think twice. He went right over there, started doing the CPR, and the EMS said that helped save that little boy's life. And you know what he says he wants to be? An EMS. And you should have seen his mother's face. It looked like the sunbeams were going to just shoot out of her face because she was so proud. And that's just one story. We know there are more young men out there like that want the opportunity. They just need a pathway. And because he's in the program at Vivian Thomas, he's on that pathway to be able to be EMT. And I want to thank you for your partnership with the schools and for believing in our young people. So thank you. And we can open it up for, we have 4 questions on fire. And don't raise your hand if you've already asked a question. That buys you ask a question, that buys you a spot in the breakout session. Yes, ma'am. Come on. Remember we're taping it, so you got to come over here. Come on, Miss Cunningham.
By the way, I'm ready for you. Just by the way, I wanted to reiterate, Madam Mayor, thank you for making us aware that we are limiting the questions. And let me just tell you, we're trying to, during the breakout sessions, those rooms are air conditioned. So maybe that will give a little incentive to those who are asking the questions. Go ahead. Ms. Irvington.
Thank you. I'd just like to know, was Irvington included in their business inspection?
What's all included in business inspection?
You said you went out and you inspected the businesses.
I can't tell you the exact area, but I can tell you, I will ask our people as soon as we take breaks. I just get the numbers.
Okay, how do you determine which businesses you will inspect?
Okay, in general, when we do general inspections, our people have designated areas that they go through per company that they try to go through their entire district. Mm-hmm. When there's certain things that institute us to do inspections, someone might call. Consequently, we'll go inspect. But also there may be renovations or certain things done to a certain structure or business that will cause us to have to inspect. So those are things that are usually initiated.
All right, I'll talk to you in the breakout.
Yes, ma'am. I look forward to it.
All right, any other fire questions? Again, don't forget about yes, ma'am. Remember we're taping, so you got to come up. Don't forget about calling 311, and you can get your smoke alarms installed.
The program for the young people,
yes, ma'am,
for the fire department, do you accept young people that have felonies?
It'll turn on. That's a very good question. There's some challenges right now with getting people in with felonies. The challenge is that it lies mostly on the EMT side. Everyone has to be an EMT, but currently, in order to challenge the National Registry, you have to be felony-free. That's one of the things actually we're working on. I'm even running for a national office for the International Association of Fire Chiefs. And that's one of the things I have on my agenda that I want to deal with, that I think we've got to at least look at the fact that when you have, for lack of a better word, low-level felonies, non-violent-based felonies, that we have to look at a group of gifted people that, for all practical purposes, and Commissioner talks about this all the time with me, that we've got to look at ways to make sure these people have opportunities. And it best serves all of us.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to save the rest of the fire questions for the breakout. Gus, who's up next?
Next up, Madam Mayor, we have the Department of Public Works, Mr. Rudy Chow.
It'll go on.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Councilwoman Holton. Good evening to the residents of the 8th District. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here in the 8th District. The work of this agency directly touches each and every person who lives in District 8 and throughout Baltimore City. We provide the highest quality water and the most effective cleaning program for the city are the two of the basic functions for DPW. Tonight, I want to address three key issues of concerns to the citizen of the 8th District, our bottom meter program, the street sweeping and rat abatement efforts. Regarding to the bottom meter project, I'm happy to report that we have now crossed over 100,000 meters installed in the city. That's 50% completed. With the vast majority of District 8 being converted already, with just a few that require additional investigation, but rest be assured that we'll circle back to complete those in the coming months. Regarding to mechanical street sweeping, the biggest obstacle we have had in carrying out our mechanical street sweeping duties is parked vehicles and inclement weathers. We urge communities to work together to encourage residents to move their cars to allow the street sweepers to do their jobs. However, DPW will review areas with zero compliance when it comes to voluntarily moving vehicles to allow mechanical street sweeping and consider posting permanent signs that require compliance. Meanwhile, residents should call 311 to report any missed mechanical street sweepings if you observe. On the subject of rat abatement, before this week is out, DPW crew will have cleaned dozens of alleys and streets in the district as part of our ongoing efforts to combat illegal dumping. Dumped items are not only an eyesore to the community, but they also create an ideal home for rats. Over the past year, DPW completed almost 7,200 rat eradication treatment in the 8th District. In the recent 30 days, from May 15 through June 15, DPW conducted more than 600 proactive rat inspections. DPW is committed to proactive efforts to make life in the 8th District better. This evening, please don't hesitate to let me know, and certainly are encouraged the fact that they got air conditioning in those breakout rooms. Please come see us if you have any question. Thank you.
All right, so I just want you to know, for those of you who participated in the survey and the pre-meeting for the cabinet in the community, I heard very clearly that there were a lot of issues that you wanted to bring to the attention of DPW. Just know that I know that, and that's why we wanted to make sure that we have as many people as the director brought for those breakout sessions, because we want to do more than just hear what you have to say. We want to work to immediately address it, and that's what those breakouts are going to be. So for Director Chow, we'll take 4 questions now, and then we'll remember that we have that space for the breakout session. Yes, sir, and yes, there's a young lady in the back. Yes, ma'am. Come up, because remember we're taping this for the Charm TV.
Good evening, Mr. Chow. My name is Warren Smith. I live in the community of West Hills. I have a question pertaining to the new meters. Those meters I remember seeing in California, as a military, and then in Texas. Those meters will not work because I've reflected back upon the news. There were 4,000 meters that broke in Maryland last winter. Those meters are not sufficient for Maryland to be upholding in these weather conditions. I think you are you installing the wrong meters? And I'm a plumber by trade, so I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. So, first of all, the fact that over this past winter we have thousands of frozen meters, first of all, it's not because of the meter. The fact is the meter is installed about 18 inches to grade. We all know the frost line in this area is about 4 feet. Of course, many homes here in the city, of course, in District 8, are homes that was built decades ago, where the codes did not require, like today's code requiring having those meter pits 4 feet and below. That is primarily the reason why those meters froze. Now, regarding to the meter itself, these are brass meters just like any other meters. However, it's with a plastic register on top. So if you open the lid, you would think it's a plastic meter is in the pit. They are not. They are brass meters just like ordinary meter that we have, because the fact that we're going to be wirelessly transmitting these meter reads, and the register on top is a plastic housing for the electronic devices.
I agree with you so far, but on the city side, there happens to be a sleeve, and that always breaks. So it means that the coldness is coming through the top, transferring through the sleeve, where it breaks at.
Not sure about what you mean by the sleeve. Again, it's the plumbing code that we're referring to. It's not fair to say the meter itself is faulty. First of all, it's the plumbing system of the codes in the past was perhaps not up to today's standard that is causing the problem. And of course, in order to address that with more than 200,000 accounts in the city, it would take millions of dollars from the enterprise fund, water enterprise fund, to address this. And we are addressing them as they occur simply because the revenue issues.
And you've already answered my question, because if the water at the level of the old meter was 3 feet, and the meter requires 4 feet, there's 1 foot of space, 1 foot it needs to go down deeper. There isn't any 1 foot to go down deeper. So again, you have the wrong meter.
Again, I can install any meter there. If you have a 3 feet to the grade, you're going to have problems with freezing and thawing. Okay. Pretty simple engineering.
So I'm going to chime in, Director Chow, and ask if we could continue this exchange during the breakouts. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead. No. Go over there.
So
Larry,
we're going with
they have the
first
shot
time.
set up for right here.
Okay.
So if this young lady doesn't
All right,
mind coming
please.
over, that's how it's set up so we can make sure we're recording. Sorry to make you
Okay.
walk extra.
Please.
Yeah, we're going to hear from this young woman
Okay.
in the pink plaid, and then you'll be the third question
All right.
in the blue. Sure.
My question is about the trash. So I see the city workers come through and they may go through the trash and tag it, but then they leave it. They don't come back and get it. And I think the 1 day a week trash that's a hindrance. That's not helping us with our rat problem.
So the fact that you mentioned tagging, I guess that's more of a co-enforcement tagging. That may be illegal dumping that you are referring to. But obviously, once it's tagged, the housing department would issue an SR, or a service request order, to DPW, and therefore that we send a crew out to pick up those illegal dumping locations with the trash. But obviously, you hit the nail on the head regarding to the cleanliness of the city. First of all, illegal dumping is causing us issues with increasing rat population because that's a food source. So we have always encouraged residents, one, if they dispose their trash in closed-lid containers, that's the way to go. And obviously, a number of folks, that's why we have code enforcements that go through neighborhoods when they don't put trash in closed containers and or illegally piling up on some streets. But that is a code enforcement, I believe that's what you're referring to, tagging.
So who do you report it to?
You should call 311 if you see that, and we'll make sure if we don't already have SR in the system, the 311 operator can help you create one, and we can track it and follow up with it. Thank you very much.
Does that answer satisfy your? Okay.
Ms. Swan?
Good evening. My question is, who's responsible for the upkeep of Baltimore City property? Yeah, that's my question. My question is, who does that?
I think housing has an answer.
Okay, Uplands Parkway, on the other side, where there was a fence where they excavated everything and removed everything and was getting ready to build everything, but nothing got built and people got displaced, and now we have, everything has grown back, the fence is into the roadway.
Tell me the name.
And when you
I'm sorry
call
to
the
interrupt.
housing
Tell
department.
me the name of that.
My name is Cynthia
No,
Swan.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I missed the whole street that you said.
It's Uplands Parkway.
Okay.
The other side of the
Got it.
site, yeah.
And when you call 311, you get caught up in, is it the Department of Public Works or is it transportation? And Baltimore City employees will call you and tell you, oh, that's not our department, so do this, that, or the other. So we actually get excuses for their ineptness, which is unfortunate because no one should tell you why they can't do what they're supposed to do. Uplands Parkway has a fence now that's been laying into the roadway as a result of all the overgrowth of greenery on that property where I guess the houses were supposed to be built at, and they never made it there, so that fence is now inside the roadway. There's Athol Gate where the city property has grown out into the road, and that road is no longer two ways. You have to stop and let one car go by. And all of this information has been disseminated to the mayor's office on neighborhoods, to Ms. Holton's office, to 311. Wickham property used to belong to New Psalmist Church. New Psalmist sold it back to Baltimore City. Once that happened, it became a nightmare. The grass was allowed to grow for 5 months. And then when they cut it, they sent people with weed whackers. I asked the gentleman, who did he piss off? Because there was no way he could do that job with that tool. It took 4 days the last time to cut the grass. My question is, if we can receive citations as homeowners in the community who pay taxes,
Absolutely, yeah.
who cites you?
And I'll say that don't leave.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The frustration you have, I share, and I know that my agency heads have heard that before. There's no reason why the answer should be it's not me, it's some other department and there's no reason for that. So I can tell you that however it was handled before, the people who have the responsibility to resolve that issue are here today, and we'll make sure that matter gets resolved, and you'll know exactly when it'll be addressed this evening.
We have deer, like my son hit a deer the other night, and if they actually put more lights on Uplands Parkway and do the things like the LED lights, they stopped at Emerson Avenue. They didn't cross over into our community.
I hear
They
you,
stopped.
and the people who are at the tops of these agencies are here to give you an answer this evening, because you shouldn't be batted around from one department to another.
Madam Mayor, if I could just piggyback on what you said. First of all, most of what I heard there was specifically either on the footprint of the Uplands project or on the periphery like the Uplands Parkway. So I think as part of the overall survey of the site, we'll include the periphery, Uplands Parkway, the Edmondson Avenue, and all the other streets, and we'll make sure that all the appropriate departments are there to address those. As to the other issues, it is true that different departments are responsible for different locations. But I think it's reasonable that you should expect that we as cabinet members would work together to sort that out. I mean, we work very closely with DPW on cleaning and boarding and of properties. You know, the transportation does work on the rights of way, rec and parks, and so forth. So it is incumbent upon us as your cabinet team to sort that out and not have to have the citizens sort it out. So we'll commit to that.
All right, I think we are going to move into our last presentation before the breakout. Commissioner Batts?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Councilmember Holton, and residents of the 8th Councilmatic District. Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Good to see you. Again, good evening, Madam Mayor, Councilmember Holton, residents of the 8th Councilmatic District. Thank you for allowing us to come before you tonight. I wanted to share that I've recently made a change of command within your district. I'd like to applaud Major Jim Hanley, who did a good job in that I rotated him into detectives. You now have acting Major Kevin, actually he's a captain, Kevin Jones, along with Captain Holman, both new to the district. Tonight we also have Deputy Commissioner Davis here, acting Deputy Commissioner Garnell Green. If you have any complaints, whether dealing with investigations or dealing with internal affairs or of any type of misconduct, we have them there to take information from you. As we continue, our focus is on building new relationships, especially over the last 45 days, in engaging this community and listening to the community and providing service in the way that this community wants it provided. You do pay the taxes. Madam Mayor, the focus is on young people. The mayor has put together a police explorer camp that last year serviced 150 young people, which not only fed them breakfast and fed them lunch, but also supplied them with gym or athletic gear and kept them off the streets during summertime. And so that camp has been moved from 150 to 300 kids. And we thank Parks and Recs, or Recs and Parks, for allowing us to get in their lane, but also to allow the police officers to engage with young people in a totally different way and different manner. Also, the mayor has started a police basketball league. This is one of 2 leagues that she has. She has had, over the last several years, Be More Nights in a basketball league. And this year, she's looking to start another league with the police department, which is looking to touch 400 kids. And again, I thank Recs and Parks for allowing us to get into their lane, to allow police officers to engage in a positive way with our young people to establish relationships. As I drive through the city at different times, I usually stop at basketball courts and I'll pull out $20 or $40 and I'll challenge the young people to shoot from half-court line. And if they make it, I'll pay them $20. Usually they don't make it because I can't find them. But I made a mistake stopping at Cloverdale, and the young men took all my money, if you know what I'm talking about. So the mayor said she wanted that in her Be More Nights crew, so I can't touch that one. We're also, earlier this week on Monday, had a chance to go to Annapolis. We did a report on diversity numbers within the police organization. I have to say, of those police organizations that were represented in Annapolis, we had the best numbers of diversity, from African Americans to women and et cetera. So we will continue to focus, as the mayor has directed, on Baltimoreans and our residents here. We have an Explorer program for young people who are interested in becoming police officers. And then we have a cadet program, which is a paid program that I'm kind of shifting, because currently it pays for young people for full-time work. But I want young people who are 18 to 22 going to college. So what we're going to do is pay them if they're full-time students, to encourage and incentivize them going to college and getting degrees focused on policing. Just recently, last week, we did a giant takedown of 17 Black guerrilla family members. They were in control of the entire western side of the city. Last year, we saw violence in the month of August on the entire western side, southwest, western, and northwest. We put a focus with the FBI and our agency partners, and we were able to take down 17 of 20 of those members. looking at crime for the area from the months of January till June. Homicide is a concern for us. We have to have no tolerance for the loss of life in the city, in this district, and to take that seriously. We have, compared to 2014, we've had 15 compared to 7. Overall shootings for the city, and these are city stats, are a correction. This is Councilmatic 8th District stats. We've had, last year we had 15 shootings at this time. This year we have 13. So we see the reduction. Looking at robberies, this year we have 77 compared to 62 from last year. Aggravated assaults, and that's someone putting their hands on someone else. We had 90 last year. We have 93 this year, so we're 3 up. Burglaries are down this year. We've had 199 for this year compared to 216 last year. We had 115 autos stolen this year compared to 146, which still continues to be a challenge for us. I was at Royal Farms yesterday or the day before. Young man pulled up in his Mercedes, not a new one, but an older one, pulled up in his Mercedes, left the key in the car, and went into the Royal Farms. And I said, you got to be joking me. But that is a consistent problem throughout the city. On a regular basis, people pulling up in cars and leaving them running. I find that hard to believe, but that happens. Also, during the wintertime, people warming their cars, leaving them in the driveways to warm them up. People get in them and drive them off. So please secure your cars. For the last month for the Council District 8th, just for the last 28-day period, our homicide is 4 for this year compared to 2 compared to last year. Shootings were 4, shootings are 4 this year compared to 5 last year, so that's down. Robberies are 19 compared to 16 of the previous year. Aggravated assaults, again, putting hands on people, 15 this year, 17 last year, so that's down. Burglaries for this year is 23 compared to 44. And not overwhelming you with stats, auto theft is down. We had 25 by 1. We had 25 this year compared to 24 last year, which means it's up. And that gives you a little synopsis. I do know that there are concerns about walking beats and having officers out. We will continue to push for that, especially now in the very near future, getting officers out of cars. I do know that the influx of drug activity in this area. Captain Holman will address that as we push to get on top of those things, and we stand ready to answer any questions in the breakout room at any given point in time. Madam Mayor, that is my report.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I see 2 hands here. I'll ask you to stand and come over to Mr. Nunley. I see one young woman here and one in the back, and that's going to be our 4 understanding that we have the breakout rooms, and we know that we've been promised they're air conditioned. 2 and 1, and where's the other? There was yes, 2 and 2. This young man, that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And if I may, Madam Mayor and Commissioner Batts, we're asking, because this is being taped and we are in a public forum, if there's something you would like to share that you'd rather share with an officer in the breakout room, please take that opportunity then. We're asking that you not give like your exact address or anything. This is because of your safety. Thank you.
And again, I want to ensure everyone is here. If you have a question that is for the police, for DPW, for the other agencies who are here, they are represented in the breakout room, so you can and will get those issues addressed.
Hi, my name is Joanne Tracy. I'm from the Irvington Community Association, and I just wanted to check on something that we were told. Particularly given, the recent unrest, that kind of thing, we've consistently asked you for help with, putting officers on the street to develop relationships, to prevent crime before it happens, all of that good stuff. We've been told that post-unrest, there are 14 officers at any given time on the street for the Southwest, but they are actually doubled up as a safety measure. And again, I know I speak for everyone. I don't want any one of your officers hurt. So if they need to be doubled up for their protection, that's fine, but can we bring in extra officers? 7 cars in a district as wide as this district just doesn't seem to be effective at all for anyone's goals. I mean, they're lucky they could get up and down each street in this district once with 7 cars, let alone be mindful of, oh, that door wasn't open 5 minutes ago, or these kids have been around here for 20 minutes. What are they up to? So is that in fact happening? And what is your department's plan? I guess it's a piggyback to that. Again, post-unrest, we've been hearing things that, officers are being told, do anything you can except arrest somebody. We need it to stay calm. We need it, for healing to begin. Healing is everyone's goal, but a spike in crime is not an acceptable result of that. So those are my 2 questions. Are there, in fact, only 7 cars in this district at any given time? And are the police officers being told, don't arrest unless you have to?
Okay, your answer to number 1 is that we have different levels of officers on different shifts, which means we have four different shifts. We have one that starts at 7, another one that starts at 1, another that starts at 4 p.m., and another one that starts at 10. And we have that overlap so that when we go into the afternoons, we have the shift that starts at 7 already out there. And that's and I won't tell you the exact number, but it's not the number that you have. And the reason I don't say that is just because I don't want certain people to know what our strength is. But at 1 o'clock, we double that. So we have the day shift that comes on because the costs for service are lower. At 1 o'clock, that doubles. We have another shift that comes on. At 4 o'clock, that shift doubles. So we have another lap that goes on. And then at 10 o'clock, that shift. So we've built almost like a wave process to have officers come in, and that number grows as we move on. The officers... the first 30 days after the civil unrest, we were allowing them to double up. What we have given a direction clearly over the last 2 to 3 weeks is that we're getting back to our normal deployment. And so the captain who's back there will have that conversation. I will assure you that to make sure that we've gone back to our normal deployment, and also getting officers out of cars, having them walk, engage in the community. That is critical to make sure that we're having a connectivity. And only because I've been sitting here and I'm deprived of water and I'm getting too hot. What was your second question? What was your second question? I got the first one.
Oh, those were the two related. But I do have a quick comment, which is not really related. But Eric Booker from Code Enforcement, I wanted to shout him out publicly if possible. He has been helping us with our business district and has been over the top wonderful. So if we can get his continued efforts from our business owners and your efforts, Eric, and your continued efforts with some community policing in that 3-block stretch of Frederick Avenue, we feel like Irvington can do nothing but ride. I mean, there's a great diversity of
did you hear that?
stock. It's near 95, 695.
I got it.
Help us out, please. Get them back there for us. Thank you.
Captain Holman, did you hear that? She says in the 3-block of Frederick that she wants community policing and walking beats to walk out there and work with housing and I believe probably code enforcement also. So make sure that you write that down and let's follow up on that.
Good evening, Commissioner Bass. I'm Grandmother Edna. I don't live in this district, but I do. Everybody knows that I am a community programmer, and I work in all the communities in Baltimore City. I'm an advocate and an activist for young people. And I just came with I listened very well. Maybe with all these parents here, maybe if y'all could find some funding, Madam Mayor, to work with the women-powered parenting organization. Years ago, they had a program in Baltimore City called Officer Friendly. Maybe it's not a joke, this is serious. Maybe I teach reorganization for language usage. Maybe if we put the parenting organizations in these schools, in all the districts, in training with policies and community parenting, and go into the schools, elementary school, you start at the root, you get a better tree. So maybe if you start on the ground root and teach these little children because I don't use the word kids, that's a goal. If you teach the little children to encounter that not all officers, and we know not all police officers are bad. You know that. I mean, I don't know why that's such a hard thing to say. But if we could start a program similar to the officer-friendly program and find funding, I'll get my women apparel ladies together, and we will support an action where having people come into the school and let these children know that the po-po, the 5-0, and all these languages does not need to represent, because if a child is lost, I do human trafficking, if a child is lost, you need to tell a child to go to the person in the uniform, not the brother that's going to put them in a van and sell them in California. So this is a serious issue about, I'm not even going to touch on the rioting. I'm not going to touch on any of that. I'm going to touch on saving our community by safety first. And those are some of the initiatives that I think that we should be really looking at, because we got school year coming up. And if you start preparing people ahead of themselves, by August, you could have a well-seasoned group of parents who are in the schools already eating pizza in the free rooms that our tax dollars buy. So I'm fair about what I say, because I participate and I know. So while they're eating pizza, which is okay, they can get some training to help do the safety in the community. So that's just me representing all the communities. And I was on the original Edmondson community partnership that started the farmers market up here at the West Side Station for Mark Train. And I got Edmondson Community Center, their community initiative, and I sat on the Red Line original commission up on Edmondson Avenue, Pulaski Street. So just to let you know, I got some little help service in this community here.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. I sincerely appreciate your passion and your dedication within the community. Last 2 years, last year was trying to get up the mayor's Explorer Camp so we can impact 150 kids, 300. This year was trying to start the mayor's basketball tournament for police, so police have a positive to add to her basketball program she already has. And so every year when we're out here, I take a listen to what people say that they want, and I'm writing down and have written down what you expect out of us, and I will try to sit down with my bosses and see if I can run that up the flagpole and see how we get back into schools. I think it's crucial. I think it's beyond crucial that we have positive relationships with young people, and I think that has to be the key from the beginning. And what we're really focusing on is not just the little ones, but also that population 16 to 30. And I also think that's critical. Now, when you said that we have good police officers, I got one hand clap in here. You have a lot of dedicated, hardworking police officers that are dedicated to this city. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, ma'am.
Unfortunately, you have officers that know they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. No, don't go there. I'm not even going to go there, but I'm going to stay on the passive level.
Yes, ma'am.
If you work with these, if you're going to a school that's, let's do the math, I do math. There's 40 children in a classroom, there's...
So because you don't have a microphone, and I want everyone to hear you. Okay, so...
Yes, ma'am.
What Ms. Tracy not Ms. Tracy, excuse me, give me 1 second. Sister Edna, sorry, Grandma Edna, I'm sorry. There is someone here, Madam Mayor, from the school system, Mr. Hassan Charles, who was running just a little late because he was coming from a meeting. Mr. Charles will be here after we finish this portion of the meeting, and you'll have an opportunity to chat with him as it relates to schools. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Marlene Arthur, and I'm from the Greater West Hill Association, right off of Cooks Lane. And my question to the Commissioner Bass is, I know that we do have some very good police officers. To me, Southwest got the best, okay? Right. Our Southwest community area, our neighborhood people come to our meeting every third Monday. But my problem with something that's concerning me with the Southwest, we change commanders too often that we don't know who they are. And I feel as though that these commanders, I know they can't come every month, but somewhere it's once or twice a year, even down to you, Commissioner, because we never seen you in our community meeting either, that you ought to step in the meeting sometime and let the people know who you are. Then maybe we wouldn't have to be here with our concerns because we can address it, because the neighborhood people that comes from the Southwest only can do but so much. Now, our city had asked us to be the eyes and ears. We are the eyes and ears of our community, but somewhere along the line, our city official had closed their eyes and closed their ears on us. Because every May through September, and Councilwoman Holden can tell you, Officer Duncan from Southwest can tell you, Officer Perry from Southwest can tell you, I have a park in the back of me. And if I tell you every month starting with April, from 6 to 2 in the morning, that we need to see some patrol in our area, because we off of Cook's Lane and they feel as though that we are quiet back there, but somewhere along the line, to believe it or not, they found us. And if I can tell you to just give me some patrol from April to September, from 6 in the evening to 2 in the morning, what's the problem? We try not to get like some of the other communities. We want to be a sample to those communities, let them know this is what you got to do to get your community back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want you to come to our meeting also and bring some of the people with us.
Wait a minute. Are you challenging me to come to your meeting?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you back. Say every night I'm at probably a community meeting, so you give me the address, location, your next meeting date, I'm going to be there. We got a date, okay?
Okay.
All right, we have
I'm
a
gonna hold you
This
to
is
it.
I will be there. Captain Holman, would you come up here? Double time. Hurry up. Let's go. These people are burning up here. This is Captain Holman. He's going to start attending your meetings on a regular basis. So introduce yourself and get that address so I can make her next meeting. I will be there. Thank you so very much. All right.
I have a little different point of view of what goes on with the police. I look a little bit younger than what I am. And I have a different opinion of what I've been through with the police, how they treat me, and now that I got of age to kind of look into the law, when I try to stand my ground and stand my right, they kind of dismiss that. And I need to know if it's anybody that's going to come to the community and let me know my rights on what I can do, because I am a man and I have a God-given right to be in certain places at certain times. Now, the officer, I heard the no-nonsense policy. I've been locked up for failure to obey. When I told the officer I wanted his badge number and stuff, he said, I'll get it in the morning when I get out of central bookings. No officer name is on the papers on a failure to obey. When I called around, they just joked with me about it. And I have 4 kids and 13 grandkids. And unless I can get somebody to really have an understanding with me and the officers and how I'm treated, I'm going to make sure my kids know how to stay away from the officers, because I feel more comfortable in the street with the other people than I do with the officers.
So two things. Commissioner, I want you to address it, but also, do we have our representative from the Civil Rights Commission? Where? Where's Ms. Brown?
She's standing to your right, Madam.
So 2 things. The commissioner is going to, sir, the commissioner is going to address it, and I also want you to connect with Ms. Brown as well, okay? Because you need to, we're going to attack this issue on both sides. All right, Commissioner?
What's your first name? Anthony?
Yes.
Anthony, it's a pleasure to meet you. I guess I have to start first with, if we have had a negative contact with you, me being the head of this organization, I extend that apology to you as the head of this organization. I want contacts to be positive. It's clear what we're growing through in this police organization is evolution and change. Now, we do have some officers who don't do what they're supposed to, and I have to be clear with that. But we have a lot of officers that do a very outstanding job, and we have to evolve to make sure that we're part of the community. Chief Rodney Hill. Rodney, you're here still. That tall gentleman behind you, that's Chief Rodney Hill. He runs internal affairs. What he's going to do is give you his business card and his red line. At any point in time that you want to know what your rights are, he's going to explain to you. He's also an attorney. He also, in his previous life, used to prosecute police officers too. So, and he was a police officer at some given point in time. So he will take the time to explain to you what your rights are. If any time you want to get a hold of me and call me directly in my office, I will take your call. I will listen to the issues that you have out there. But I also ask you not to have a closed mind, because there are many good officers out there who do a lot of good things, from mentoring, from coaching, who risk their lives on a daily basis. What I want to do from this day on, Rodney, and I'm going to give this to you and Captain Holman. Captain Holman, pay attention here. What I want you guys to do is to make him a friend. So I want you to sit down and listen to his concerns. I want to address his concerns, and then I want to change his mind through building a relationship with him. We look forward to establishing a partnership with you. Thank you.
Mr. Anthony, one more second. I just want you to understand what the Civil Rights Commission does as well. So you just need a mic. Either one, you can. This one doesn't stretch, so if you don't mind. Keisha, thank you. And just introduce yourself.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Keisha Brown. I'm the new director of the Office of Civil Rights, and that houses the Civilian Review Board. And the Civilian Review Board is the only agency that's authorized independent agency that's authorized to investigate the police. So we take complaints on excessive force, harassment, false imprisonment, false arrests, and abusive language. And so we're looking for a representative from this district as well. So if you're interested in serving on the board, please see me. But I want to make sure that we connect. So, and anybody else who wants to file a complaint against the police, there is an agency that's neutral that can do that.
Thank you. Is there an agency that can let me know my rights?
All right, are we?
No, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, again, I want to just remind you, the police department, the commissioner and his team will be in the breakout sessions. Everyone will be in the breakout sessions. Does everybody have a map of the breakout sessions? So if you don't have a map, raise your hand so we can, so we have about 3. Nunley, we have about 3. Just see us at the front. We'll make sure
the maps
that
are here
you'll get the map.
as they exit out, Madam
So
Mayor.
you
They
have
will
it as you exit. I want to thank everyone again for coming out to Cabinet in the Community. It's my goal with Cabinet in the Community to bring the resources to you so you can get your issues addressed. And we are about to start with I guess everybody is eager to get to the breakout sessions. I want to thank Principal Perry one more time. I have a resolution for you. I want to thank Councilwoman Holton and everyone who's come out.
Okay, everyone,
Thank you.
please. Let's just give me 1 second, Madam Mayor. You want to finish your thought?
I'm done. People want to get to the breakout and the air conditioning. I get it. I just want to know. I want to thank everybody for coming out.
Thank you.